Hey guys, what's up? This is JRP77 from JGene Games, and in this tutorial we are going to be talking about the bevel modifier. So I'd like to apologize first because, as well as they will be edited, so they won't be like 17 minutes long or 10 minutes long. They'll be like 2 or 3 minutes long, 4 mintes long. They'll be pretty short. Turns out they're going to be about 6 to 8 minutes long. Depends on which modifier we're covering. Anyways, let's just go ahead and get started. So first of all, let's talk about what is the bevel modifier. According to dictionary.com, bevel means a surface that does not form a right angle with adjacent surfaces. So basically what this modifier does is it turns right angles into flatter angles. So it goes from 90 degrees to 45 degrees. So let's go ahead and add this modifier. So let's go over to our modifiers panel, go add modifier, click bevel. Now you notice right away that it goes ahead and it cuts these edges off. And that's basically all this modifier does. So let's go through the settings really quickly. First of all, we have the width. Now this is how big the actual bevel is. Now right now it's only at 1, but we can actually take this all the way up to 1, at least for our object right here, because if we go to the object properties, our scale is 1 by 1 by 1. So that's just a basic way. You can only go as big as the actual size of your object. So the width is just the size of the bevel in general, with 0 being just right angles, and with 1 pretty much changing the shape completely. Then we've got segments. Now think about this like your quality of your bevel. So 1 segment's gonna be like these flat angles, but if we go to 2 segments, you'll notice that it rounds it off a little bit, and so forth with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. So basically, think about it like this. Segment is the quality of your bevel. Either it's flat with 1 segment, or if it's at like 100, then it's completely round. I highly recommend not using 100 though, because it will completely destroy your system. And then we've got profile. Now this is actually a really interesting thing that I didn't know about until I started researching this. This is the direction of the bevel, with 0 being a concave and 1 being convex. So concave goes in, convex goes out, so you can actually determine which direction the bevel goes in. So you'll notice that if we change it right now, we can go to 0, or we can go close to 0, and it'll make this indent right here, or we can go all the way up to 1, and it will actually go back to a right angle because it's already gone as far out as it can, so it's creating extra vertices when you don't need them. So you can see right here that it bulges out more, and then right around 1, it just goes all the way across. And then you have material. Now material is the index number of the material for the bevel, so you can actually change the bevel color based on the material here. So if it's set to -1, then it's just going to find the nearest face and use that as the material. So we could go ahead and make a new material by going to Materials tab, going add and create a new material, and we'll just change this color to a, let's just change it to like a light bluish color. And then we can go back to our modifier and we can go material, and if we set this to 1, you'll notice that edges go like this. Now you may be wondering why 1 and not 2, because we have 2 materials. Well, that's because computer counting starts at 0. So this would be 0 and this would be 1. You always start with 0 because that's how computer counting works. So now we can go ahead, I'm just going to leave it like this because it looks kind of cool. And let's go ahead and talk about the next thing, and we're not going to go down, we're going to go to the right to only vertices. Now only vertices only bevels the vertices. So instead of beveling this entire edge, it would only bevel the vertices right here. If I click this real quick, you can see that only the vertices have been beveled, and the segments and profile works the same as well. You can make them stand out more, or you can make them indent. There's a lot of fun things you can do with this. Again, all of the other ones apply. So now that's basically all there is to it. It just bevels the vertices rather than the entire edge. And now let's go on to clamp overlap. Now this is actually a really interesting thing because this allows us to prevent how our shape is made. So if we go ahead and scale this up, you can notice that as soon as the bevels touch each other, they stop, and that's what clamp overlap does. If we uncheck this, you'll notice they continue to bevel, and they'll continue to bevel, and they'll glitch out, and then you'll end up eventually with a cube again, because that's how beveling vertices works. What clamp overlap does is no matter the size, it clamps it so that as soon as the beveled edges touch one another, then it instantly stops beveling. So this is a really cool feature so that you don't get a bunch of errors. Let's go to loop slide. Basically what the loop slide does is it sees if the unbeveled edges meet the beveled edges, and if it does so, the bevel effect tries to slide onto the unbeveled edges as possible. So this doesn't really apply to us because we haven't done anything with limiting or width, but we can look at it a little bit right now. So you see it's currently checked. You'll notice that in our scenario that this doesn't do anything, and that's because it doesn't have any edges that aren't beveled. And we'll talk about that a little bit with the limit method, and I'll try to explain that a bit better. So let's just talk about the limit methods really quick. We have none, which means that all of the edges will be beveled. That's why loop slide currently doesn't work. And we have angle. So this will basically say that if we click on this, that only angles that are above a certain variable are what actually get put in. Now I notice that nothing happens, but really it's because this angle is too big. So if I click on the eye real quick, you can see that we have 90-degree angles right here. So if I show this again, and I get in this, and I set this to 91, then none of the edges are beveled. but as soon as it goes to 89 or even 89.9, it will always be right there, right up until it hits 90, and as soon as it hits 90, these edges won't be beveled, and that's because these are only 90-degree angles. But if we bring in another shape, like let's say a monkey, and we drag it in right here, and we rotate it a little bit on the Z so that we can see it, and then we give this the bevel modifier, leave all these settings the same, and we'll also give this a couple materials just so we can see exactly what's going on, and we'll just make this red, and then we can go back to the modifiers tab, set this to 1. You'll notice that all the edges are beveled right now, but as soon as we go angle, you'll notice that we can see, based on the angle of the edge, how many vertices are actually beveled. That's a really cool thing you can add. Based on the angle, you can determine which vertices will be beveled and which won't. And then we have weight. Now this is going to judge it based off of the weight of the actual vertices. So basically what this is going to do is this is going to set the bevel based on the weight of the edges. Now, I'm sorry, I am horrible at weight painting. I do not understand it yet, but that's all I know how it works. It checks the weight of the edges and then it determines based on the weight whether or not it should be beveled or not. I don't know if that's how it actually works, but that's how it seems to work according to the Blender docs. So then we have vertex group. Now this allows us to set a vertex group in order to be beveled. So if I tab and I select these vertices right here, let's just select the top vertices. What we can actually do is we can go over to mesh and we can go vertex group and create a new one and then click assign. We'll just rename this to test. Now you'll notice that if I deselect, it deselects all those, and I select, it only selects the top vertices right there. So if I go back to the modifier and I select vertex group and I select test, you'll notice that only bevels the top of the object. So we can make some pretty cool things, maybe make like an Overwatch loot box or something like that. Pretty simple, just based on setting a vertex group like that. Alright, so now let's talk about width methods. You'll notice that we have a couple different options. We have offset is the first one, and this value offsets the new edges from the original. So you can see right here that the new edges are different than the old edges. So offset just offsets the new edges from the original object, so you can see how they come out like this. Width, that's where the width is the actual width of the bevel. So you can see that the farther we go, it becomes more round, but you'll notice that it always keeps a square right there. And that's because of clamp overlap. So width just judges it based off of the width of the object right here. So this value controls this value. Now the depth is the perpendicular distance between the original to the bevel. So you can see that the more we go in, we can keep going, but we get into some pretty weird shapes and stuff like that. Just pretty simple. Percent is where the value is percent of the adjacent edge length. Basically, I have no idea how this works. I just know that it's a bit jumpy and it takes a much bigger number for a bevel rather than a smaller number with the other ones. And the others still work the same. You can still do the exact same thing. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If this video sucked, you know what to do. But if it didn't, drop a like and don't forget to subscribe for more content. Don't forget to check out our website, social media, and merch, as well as our community Discord server. All of those links will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time.